Hello everyone, thanks for joining the tour today, and we're going to be taking a look at the newly renovated bungalows, or otherwise now known as the cottages, which we've gone through about half of them so far, and we're looking at cottages number 4 and 8 at this time. And this is just a view of the balcony. We changed the entrance from being in the middle, and so if you are familiar with the property, there used to be an entrance for 2 rooms in one of these bungalow housing structures, and now each bungalow, each room has their own entrance to the side and a little bit more privacy as well, because we split the balconies. So you don't necessarily have to talk to the neighbor if you don't want to, but you can of course go around if you would like. And moving into the room itself, these are brand new beds and frames and new design with the throw pillows and the standard pillows in the back there. And then you can also see the kitchenette unit that we renovated, and we'll get to in a second. Also, we added a working desk with a charging station, so you have USB and also Type-C there as well, right below the television. And that's for anybody who wants to get some work done, especially those work from home people. And this is a wider view of the room, and I just want to make note of the AC, because these used to be fan cooled rooms, and now we got rid of the louver windows, and so now it's completely sealed up, if you will, with, as far as the windows go, brand new windows. And also want to bring attention to the ceilings. So the ceilings used to be flat, and now we brought them up to an apex to give a little bit more room and make it feel a little bit more spacious, but still maintain the coziness. And also bringing some more attention to the far right corner of the kitchenette that we have, and we'll get to that in a second, and also the newly renovated bathroom. So we basically gutted this entire place. Even the floor tiles are brand new as well. And this is another angle of the bed, and just want to bring some attention to the LED bed frame, as well as the embedded nightstands and lamps, and another view of the kitchenette, I should say. And as you can see, it has basically all the utensils and tools that you might need to cook a meal. Included is a mini fridge there down on the left, and a hot plate, coffee maker, ice bucket, all the knives and utensils that you may need to feed a small family. Not necessarily Thanksgiving dinner, but you can definitely chef it up in there, especially if you're staying for an extended period of time. This might be a perfect type of accommodation for you. And that essentially is the kitchen. And now moving on to the bathroom. And as I mentioned before, like floor to ceiling, new floor tiles, new ceiling tiles. We got the LED frame around the mirror just to give a little bit more lights. We changed out the square louver windows for the ship window, I guess you can call it. And we got the rainfall shower head and the glass frame shower door. Even the towel holders, those are all new. And again, trying to bring together everything in the room, the kitchenette, and to complete the cottage experience, if you will. So very happy and proud of how this was done, and really wanted to give a modern look and feel to this new room category, the cottage. And so also with this wider angle, want to bring attention to the closet. So you got some drawer space there, and you got some hanging space as well, and your safe, of course, and the ironing board is on the other side in between the closet and the window there. And yeah, another angle of the room, and also want to bring attention to that long standing mirror there, so full frame mirror. And that essentially is the bungalow, and this is kind of our way of paying homage to my dad and where he started from with this hotel, Travelers Beach Resort. Today we're visiting the Pinnacle's beautiful 2-bedroom sample apartment located on the 3rd floor of Tower 1, the Swallowtail Tower. This unit is lagoon facing, offering open water views and a peaceful backdrop that defines the overall atmosphere of this space. This tour will give you a real sense of what to expect from these residents and what living will feel like here. The apartment features a double balcony, ensuite bathrooms, and a thoughtful layout designed for comfort and flow. So come along and join us for this stunning apartment tour. So Kanya, this is a 2-bedroom that we're seeing, the concept 2-bedroom.
Yes, this is our 1299 square feet lagoon facing 2-bed.
Okay, and we are on the 3rd floor?
We're on the 3rd floor, and remember, living starts on the 3rd floor. So this is the lowest possible level to live, lowest view that you'll get. Everything else is elevated, it goes up. So it's 1299 square feet, it's open concept, living, dining, kitchen. 9.5 feet is the distance between the ceiling and the floor. Category 5, hurricane-proof windows and doors. Quartz countertops, recessed lights, central air, and the furniture, of course, is for staging purposes.
Okay, and so everybody will have an opportunity to choose and design, decorate?
It depends.
Okay.
So in the residential tower, this tower, yes.
Okay.
But if you're in the Canary Tower and you're going to want to put your unit back with the hotel, we have a tier, different options that you can choose from.
Okay. So obviously fully customizable, dream furniture, dream table.
Of course, absolutely.
Okay. Beautiful. And now moving into the bedroom, which bedroom
primary
is this?
bed.
This is the primary bed.
This is primary bed. So you get this view. It's a rainy day, but still a beautiful view.
Definitely.
From this primary bed, look at the space. It's a king-size bed, night tables. You can recline here, ensuite bathroom with a wet room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have your big bath where you can soak, and then there's also a shower.
So that's one thing that I really like about this is that
the space.
The space. I didn't know that's what it's called, the wet room.
I just had a client say to me the other day, that's not really a bathroom, it's a wet room. And I'm like, yeah, it is a wet room. It's a wet room. You close this door and it's a wet room. And
it definitely has that indoor-outdoor feeling.
Yes. And you won't be outside looking in, you won't be able to see, but you can stay inside and look outside. So you can be soaking while taking in that view.
Yeah, nobody can see you.
Yes.
That's good, that's awesome. Yeah. Oh, I love the layout. I love the tall ceilings as well. I'm a huge fan.
Of high ceilings, yeah.
Definitely.
Very nice.
And you get 2 balconies here.
Yes, so you have one to the left, and then one in front, and then this one. Ooh, you feel that breeze?
Yeah.
This one goes all the way down to the secondary bed.
And I also like the fact that each bedroom has its own bathroom.
And closet.
And closet, right.
Own bathroom and closet, so you can have your own privacy. One thing else that I like about this, about all the units, although it's central air, each unit still has your own control. So you can have the AC out here, the master one is on, and you can adjust it to what you want in your bedroom, on, off, whatever the temperature. You can do that in your bedroom.
Very nice.
Closet space, bathroom. See how the lights came on? See how the lights came on? I didn't touch anything.
I love it. Nice. Very nice. Again, tall ceilings, tall enclosure as well.
A lot of space for showering.
Tons and tons of space. I love the inset as well. Anytime I go, it feels like a hotel, you know. And
the finishes? Yes.
The finishes, but anytime I go to a hotel, like the bathroom is so important. And having that, as simple as that is, it is a huge convenience.
It is, absolutely.
Very beautifully designed. And this behind us with the balcony.
This is a balcony with more views.
Very nice.
Grade 12A porcelain tiles, and same, we're consistent with the windows and doors, 9.5 feet, category 5 hurricane proof.
Excellent. And we just went through Melissa, still here, no problem, nothing, no issue at all.
No damages at all.
And I would presume that because the glass is so thick and it is made for that type of impact, that's why it's so quiet in here.
Exactly.
And you don't hear the outside traffic or even the rain that is coming down right now.
You hear nothing from outside.
That's crazy.
There's construction going on right now. You don't hear any construction noises. Once they're closed, that's it. It blocks out all the noise.
That's huge.
Amazing.
Talk about peace and quiet.
Peace of mind, serenity, relaxation. Yes.
Oh, this is great. This is great. And how much would a unit like this go for?
This right now is 691,000. This exact unit.
691,000.
Yes.
Man, get it while you can.
Get it while you can.
Get it while you can. Now, this is absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Kanya, for taking the time.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed the tour of this 3rd floor, 2-bedroom, lagoon-facing apartment at the Pinnacle Swallowtail Tower. If you'd like more information on the Pinnacle, please scan the QR code on the screen or visit the link in the description below.
Welcome to the Oasis.
This is really an investment, I would say, for people who have vision and can really understand what this can potentially turn into. It's not the prettiest site to look at, I think, for most people, but for me, I see tremendous potential and tremendous opportunity for value creation for a lot of people. My name is Winthrop Wellington, and I run this YouTube channel where I help people move to and invest in Jamaica.
This area is where the gym is going to be located, state of the art. This is going to be more casual cafe, more the owners can come and mingle. This is the additional 2 acres for future development. My name is Mara Watson and I'm a realtor in Jamaica. I have been specializing in a lot of hotel condo conversions. I'm here today at Oasis Resort, and this is one of the properties my clients have purchased to convert into a condo property.
My favorite part about the Oasis is really what it represents. It represents the potential of Negril.
I have seen the real estate market change drastically in Negril. The market has gone up tremendously and the demand is huge. The need for housing has really increased.
Right now, there's 57 rooms here that nobody's living in right now today. The windows are blown out, there's no electricity, there's no water. In 15 months from now, there are going to be 57 refurbished rooms that are going to have owners that will have titles for each and every one of these rooms. That is real value for 57 different people, 57 different families that did not exist before.
Definitely the before. You're seeing it raw and you see the pool green, but that will be beautiful and clean within a year.
Doing real estate projects of this nature is risky. Anything can happen.
We're going to bring this back to life. This was quite the place in its time.
I believe this is a representation of the turnaround or the renaissance of Negril. That's also part of the reason why I myself am getting a unit here as well.
So excited to bring this project to the market, and it's going to be affordable. The units are starting at
Throp here again. As you're probably hearing, Jamaica is on an unprecedented economical tear, and I know many people are interested to learn how they might be able to buy property in Jamaica, move here, or even start a business. Enter ThropX. This is my annual Jamaica investment conference hosted at Travelers Beach Resort in Negril, Jamaica. If you're even considering moving to or investing in Jamaica, this is the best low-risk opportunity to do your due diligence and network with the very people driving the country forward. This event brings together a group of hand-picked, trusted, top-of-their-field individuals, the best developers, contractors, real estate pros, lenders, and government partners, all under one roof to help you make your move. This is very much an action-focused premium conference experience geared towards empowering you with the tools and team necessary to create your Jamaica dream. We've partnered with the Tax Administration of Jamaica to help you get your TRN and even open a bank account, all conveniently located on conference property. One of the most popular parts of the conference is the real estate tour. It's the best way to understand Jamaica's real estate market, seeing and experiencing properties firsthand so you can compare apples to apples. Another incredibly valuable part of the conference is the people you will meet. Attendees have been some of the most dynamic, inspiring individuals I have met doing incredible things with their lives. As always, this year will be fun, educational, and actionable, giving you the tools, insights, and connections to invest, build, and move to Jamaica. For more information, please visit thropx.com and join our mailing list. This podcast is supported by Discovery Water. Whether I'm working or training, I reach for Discovery Water, 100% premium Jamaican spring water. Bottled in glass, no plastic, no gimmicks. Refill, not landfill. Just just clean, natural hydration from right here on the island. Happy Sunday, everyone. I hope you are well. Happy to be here. Another week, another stream. We've been doing 2 a week, as you know. We've been very consistent, which I'm proud to say, and proud to be doing, I think some very interesting topics the last month or so. We've been hitting them one after another, having great guests on, and today will be no different. Of course, I want to start out our welcome here by finding out more about you, what city, what state you are chiming in from, and I hope you will join the discussion today, as it should be a culturally educational one. At least for me, it will be on many levels. And in preparing for this, I was excited to have the guests that we're having on here today, who are very much so experts in their musical and musical historical fields, and I think it's going to be a really, really good one. Of course, we are gearing up for ThropX, which is next weekend, literally 1 week away. We'll be knee deep in registration, and we'll be getting ready for our dinner, for our welcome dinner, and yeah, getting ourselves ready and getting super, super excited. Of course, as I keep reminding people, if you're signed up, whether for the virtual tickets or in person, make sure you download the Hoover app. That is the platform in which we are managing the conference this year. So make sure you download that and be a part of the conversation before and during the conference. And as far as today's stream goes, like I said, it's going to be, I think, a musically historically relevant one. And I'm going to do my best to build a little bit of context before we invite our guest on, which should be in another 12 minutes or so. We'll have them join. But in the meantime, I'm going to read through your comments quickly, and then we'll start to build the context for the discussion that we're going to have today. What's going on, Buffalo Soldier? Good to have you. May says, hey, Throppers. Amaya from Boston. Can't wait to be volunteering at the conference next week. Can't wait to have you as well. It's going to be fun. Going to be so much fun. A lot to learn as well during the conference. Lady KK, greetings from balmy Brooklyn. Hope everyone is having a great Sunday so far. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Graham Brooks, evening Throp and Throppers from London. Thanks for chiming in from across the pond. Keisha, hey Thropper. Cayman Islands in the house. Awesome. Punty says, big up, enough respect. Enough big up. It's not respect. Enough big up, Throp and Throppers from Markham, Canada. Good wishes to everyone. Thanks so much, Punty. Appreciate that. Darnell, blessings, man of God. Thank you. 80s hair, hi Throp, watching from Italy. Oh, wow, you're all the way in Italy. I really miss the consistent 25 to 30 degree weather in Jamaica. No jacket required. That's right. Darnell, real estate tour. Yeah, we got a real estate tour coming up next week. We got 2 of them, as a matter of fact. Justin, what's happening? Simply Paula. Hey, Throp and Throppers watching from Springfield, Vermont. Nice to have you. Donna Bryce. Happy Sunday, Throp and Throppers from Ottawa, Canada. Beautiful long weekend, spring day. Awesome. You guys got a holiday over there? Tim Ralph, bless up. Sherm, good afternoon. Thank you. Good to see everyone. All right. So listen to Donna, hit that like button. And if for some reason you are not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So I want to bring, before we bring on our guest here, I want to bring a little bit of context to our discussion. And I don't want to assume that people know what is happening and know what is going on. And as you might be able to tell from the thumbnail and the title of this live stream, there's a bit of a controversy in the music industry here in Jamaica. And to start with, I want to read an article. What we'll do is I'm going to put the link. We're going to listen a little bit to the songs, but I want to put the links in the description for you all to listen yourself. And so we're going to start one by one. So I'm going to give you the original song, and you can listen to it. This is the original song that we're going to be discussing today. And you can take a listen. You guys are probably already familiar with it, but again, don't want to assume. So anyway, this is the article that we're starting off with. Let me go ahead and put that I'm going to put the article in the comment section as well, and you all can go ahead and read it. Let me see if I can bring it up here. Okay, I think you can see my screen now. Okay, great. So the article reads, Faye Ellington criticizes vulgar songs on Hill and Gully Riddim, praises the genius for revitalizing folk culture, but says slack songs devalue heritage. Kingston, Jamaica. Jamaican media personality and cultural expert Faye Ellington is condemning several dancehall artists for what she describes as the defacing of Jamaican culture through slack and vulgar lyrics featured on the revived Hill and Gully Riddim produced by Stephen the Genius McGregor. When I hear persons changing the lyrics of Hill and Gully to vulgarity, it pains me. It hits me in a place I cannot explain. I get numb. The specialist broadcaster for national events shared in a video uploaded on her YouTube channel on Sunday. Hill and Gully Rider is a traditional 19th century Jamaican folk and mento song. It was revived as a dancehall rhythm in late April 2026 by McGregor. The project, fronted by Massacre's trending track Slip and Slide, has since attracted features from major names in dancehall, including Elephant Man, Valiant, Gavanna, Gully, and Skipper. Sorry if I don't know these artists. Ellington, who is known for her decades of work in theater, radio, and television, said she has been struggling for days with how to address the issue. Says, me angry, uno supposed to know better. Yeah, it cannot be because you want to get some likes and you want to make some money and you want to go wide. Yes, going to the wide and far. And I wonder how you will be viewed. All of you have decided to get down into the gutter. All of you have decided to get slack and nasty. Helen Gully Rider, Emmanuel Road. You understand your heritage, see questioned. I'm translating there, as you can see. Drawing comparisons to the national anthem, Ellington argued that Jamaica's cultural heritage should be treated with greater respect. It is like treating your anthem, hearing the instrumental version of your anthem, and start to sing all kinds of madness on top of it. We have gone totally off the cliff. We are not on the brink anymore, she said. Despite her criticisms of some of the songs, Ellington praised McGregor for reviving the folk classic and introducing it to the new generation. However, she maintained that the country folk's traditions and cultural identity should not be compromised for popularity or profit. Congrats to Stephen, but a number of people have decided to put certain kinds of lyrics to this thing, not understanding that they are defacing our culture, that they are putting us in a place that we will have to explain to our children, she said, adding that Jamaican artists should know better. She further called on the culture minister, Olivia Grange, to issue a public statement in relation to this matter, expressing disappointment with one unnamed female artist featured on the rhythm. Ellington warned, our heritage is not to be trifled with, and if you think it's okay to go to that level, you know something is wrong. And so essentially that is the backdrop of the situation, if you will. And today we have two music. I'm not a music expert. I don't claim to be. I don't claim to know anything about everything, I should say, about music. I am a fan at best here. And we did our best to get on two people who know way more about music and have the experience to kind of bring some context to what is happening here. I do want to, just for a second, hopefully, I know we've been having some sound issues the last few streams. I just want to see if I can play a little bit of each song without getting banned from YouTube here, which is on YouTube. So I'm being a little facetious. All right, so let me know if you guys can hear this. I want to play a little bit of it before we invite our guest on. All right, let me know if you guys can hear this. No, nothing. Hold on 1 second. I think I did the wrong one. Yep, did the wrong one. Sorry about that. Okay, here, let's try it again. Can you guys hear this? Just want to make sure everybody's hearing. Let me know if you can hear. It's been playing for a little bit. Okay, so I think thank you everybody for letting me know you can hear it. So that's the original song. I'm gonna play a little bit of I should have got the censored version here. All right, I'm gonna play a little bit of the beginning of the newer version of it, and I'm sure we'll listen to it again with our guest on. So one more time. This is the newer version, the updated version with Massacre, produced by the genius Slip and Slide, Hill and Gully Riddim.
I saw she slip, I saw she slide, oh. I make her push it inside, oh. Hey, what a girl can ride, oh. Hey, what a girl can ride. I saw she slip, I saw she slide, oh. I make me push it inside.
All right, we get the idea, right? Okay. All right. So hopefully that brings enough context to our discussion today. I'm going to bring that down. Glad to know the sound is working. And at this time, I would like to invite, we have one of our guests in backstage, so to speak. So let me pull up their profile here. All right. So to join the discussion on this topic today, we have, sorry, I see some comments saying that it's awful and disrespectful. I just wanted to, I'm not here to offend anybody in any way or anything like that, but I think it's important to bring context here. So our first guest that we have on is Franklyn Frankie Campbell, who is a veteran Jamaican musician, band leader, bassist, and cultural advocate, best known as a longtime member and manager of the legendary Jamaican band Fab 5. For more than 5 decades, he has played a major role in shaping Jamaica's music landscape through reggae, soca, ska, and popular Jamaican music, helping Fab 5 become one of the country's most respected and enduring bands. Under Campbell's leadership, Fab 5 has recorded over 30 albums and more than 200 original songs, producing classics hits such as All Night Party, Ring Road Jam, Good Buddy, and Jamaican Woman. The band has performed internationally alongside global music icons including Bob Marley, Jimmy Cliff, Aretha Franklin, and Ray Charles, while also appearing at major festivals and concerts worldwide. Beyond music, Campbell is widely respected for his advocacy work with Jamaica's entertainment industry. He has served as chairman of the Jamaica Association of Vintage Artists and Affiliates, JAVAA, where he has constantly pushed for greater recognition, preservation, and support for Jamaican musicians and cultural practitioners. Throughout his career, Frankie Campbell has been recognized for his contribution to Jamaican culture and music, including receiving Jamaica's Order of Distinction, OD. His work continues to influence generations of musicians and contributes significantly to preserving and promoting Jamaica's musical heritage and both local and international. It is my pleasure to welcome Frankie to the stream. How are you, Mr. Campbell?
I'm good. Call me Frankie.
Okay,
Not
Frankie.
Mr. Campbell.
All right, I'm sorry. I got it. Okay, wonderful to have you. And I appreciate you taking the time today to sit with us and discuss this and to kind of give us perspective and on this situation. And I guess I would just open it up generally and to just get your initial thoughts on the whole situation.
First things first. We have to understand that there's no bad music. Notes, unless it's a wrong note, or you're playing a wrong chord, or you're out of key.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get that straight. So therefore, there's no bad music. In other words, I remember back in the days when we were producing a Christian group in Jamaica, they refused to put our names on the album jacket because we were secular and they were Christians. And we wondered and said, but there's nothing wrong with the notes that we're giving them to play or the arrangements, right? The main problem, so now there's nothing wrong with the young man's arrangement or the young man's rhythm. It's fantastic. It's a modern version. Right?
Sorry, I think we're having a little hiccup with the Wi-Fi here with Frankie. Let's give it 1 second, see if we can get him back on. All right, I'm just going to read some of your comments while we try to get Frankie back on here. Justin says, the new Hill and Gully Riddim sounds like a mix of soca and Afro beats to me. Not sure what, if anything, it has to do with reggae or dancehall. Just saying. Val Porter says, awful and disrespectful. Unique says, greetings, everyone checking in from hot Tampa. Good to have you on. Keisha says, this conversation is refreshing because it creates a balance between preserving culture and accepting the natural evolution that comes with new generations. Yeah, and that's kind of what I mean. It's also like good to hear from a person like Frankie, Fab Five. And I'll say something after in respect to that, because I'm sure the challenges of putting out new and different types of music have evolved, like you said, from over the years, and it's very different now in 2026 than compared to when Fab Five was in its heyday. And then speaking of Fab Five, I forgot to mention this to Frankie. We actually had them come and perform, and this was like it was for my dad. I believe it was my dad's 75th birthday. And hold on, okay, we got Frankie back here. Hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry, we lost you for a second.
Wow.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
Yeah, I start over. Like I said before, so the notes, there are no bad notes unless it's wrong notes or you're singing out of key. Let's establish that. So we're all happy for him rejuvenating the old with him, doing a new version. There's nothing wrong with that. It's great. It's great to know a younger person who wants to go back in our history and recapture a song from the 50s, a mentor song, and do a new spin on it. The problem is that he, as a producer, because he ultimately owns the rights with him, and whoever's on it, he's the main person. So when somebody comes into the studio, when we have a rhythm and somebody comes in to voice a new song on that rhythm, it's up to us, the onus is on us to say, okay, we don't want you to talk about this. Right? Are you going to be positive with your lyrics? Is it going to be some love lyrics? Are you going to motivate children? Are you going to be like Bob Marley? Everybody can't be Bob Marley. We know that, right? And but the point is that the kind of lyrics that I've heard on most of the songs that he produced are horrendous. I mean, come on. I don't want my young child to be hearing that. Our school children, it's bad enough that we have a generation of young people who don't seem to know what's right from what's wrong. And I said, don't seem to know. In Jamaica right now, in schools, every year when I went to school, I went to Kingston College, KC. And during I went to sixth form, during my 6 years at KC, nobody died. I think we had one drowning. In those days, we didn't have many kids dying from accidents. The main cause of death in those days was drowning. Now, today in Jamaica, I mean, every single year, dozens of school children are stabbed to death by other school children, are beaten, and have to be hospitalized. There's something tragically wrong. And one of the big influences, whether or not you want to believe it, it's pop music, it's reggae music, it's dancehall. It's the lyrics that the children are fed. Now, back in my day, growing up, of course, I'm not old. I'm considered old, ancient. We were influenced by books. We read books.
Sorry, Frankie. We're not hearing you for some reason. Am I the only one experiencing that? Oh, there we go.
What? Gone again?
Nope, I got you. You're back now. You're back.
Hello?
Yep.
Wow. Like I said, back in the day, we had one radio stations, and they tried to play the best of music, best entertainment, and best educational material. Now, kids, they don't listen to radio. They don't watch television. They have their phones. So the biggest influences are other kids, or the people are really, you know already. So the mainstream media is not that important anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, we have to be very careful. Hence, we find all this violence in schools, and people don't seem to think that the music is influencing them, but it is. College space back to spend more time as young people with our school friends than even our parents. We have a summer holiday of 2 months, and that's about it. And how many parents go to work anyways? So the influences are really stronger with our friends at school and the people that we see on our phones. And the music that is played, we're bombarded. We listen to it 100 million times. A song is released today, and we hear it 1,000,000 times because we keep playing it over and over until we learn the lyrics.
And Frank,
they are influencing. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. I was going to ask, do you think artists and producers should be taking more responsibility for the songs and the lyrics that they put out in terms of the influence that they potentially do have on the youth?
No, potentially they have, but you're right. You're totally 100% correct. They should take responsibility. Now the point is that Jamaican music, we reached our peak sometime back in the 80s and 90s worldwide, and since Sean Paul and Shaggy, they're big.
Sorry, Frankie, we lost you again. We're just not hearing you. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, we lost you. Just not hearing you for some reason. Can you go back to you were talking about Sean Paul and Shaggy?
Yeah, since Sean Paul and Shaggy, and believe it or not, Shaggy's big album, it wasn't even me, 20 years, it's over 20 years old. It's celebrating the 20th anniversary.
Wow.
Sean and Shaggy had these massive hit records in the early 2000s. Jamaican music has been struggling internationally.
Mm-hmm.
We know that some of the dancehall younger people are regionally popular. I'm still tripping out.
Nope, you're okay.
Wow, why am I tripping out?
Oh yeah, now you're tripping out. Oh man, sorry.
Tripping out.
Yeah, tripping out a bit. Yes.
Wow, what then? I mean, the internet here is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm hearing you, but I keep talking. The picture's a little muffled, but we can still hear you. Oh, sorry everyone. Frankie, you still there? We lost him. Sorry about that. We're going to get to some of the comments here. All right, let's see. We're gonna get to. Oh, we lost Frankie completely. All right, we'll get him back on in a second. All right, this one's from Tisha. I believe that even though most of the songs on the most recent Riddim are considered vulgar by many, this is currently the state of dancehall, fortunately or unfortunately. So the artist, trying to continue statement here, just creating as they know how to in today's day. So this continues the discussion of the state of dancehall overall. However, maybe for this Riddim, it should have been a bit more selective. And so just kind of want to, I think we got Frankie back. Yeah, okay, we got Frankie back here. All right. Here we go.
I'm right beside my modem. So let's
Okay.
hope it works better.
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
So, yeah. Like,
Okay, so you're talking about the state of basic. Yep.
So we're very disappointed, the older ones in the industry. Because like I said before, it's been 20 years now. Shaggy and Sean Paul really made those big inroads in worldwide charts. And somehow, I mean, I'm not saying that nobody has done anything over the last 20 years, but it's compared to what happened in the 80s and 90s. We're not just Marley alone, but like check these and players and you can boost and all over the world. And basically, we were just the music. Nelson Mandela, when he came to Jamaica, after he became president, he said he had to come to Jamaica because while he was in Robbins Island, they're smuggling a lot of Bob Marley tapes.
Wow.
And that's that helped to keep him motivating, gave him a lot of motivation and list to Bob Marley. It was strong. And that's why he came here. And of course, Obama, when he came to Jamaica, it was a logistic nightmare because he had this, all the people around him going crazy because he had to visit the Bob Marley Museum. And he just automatically just went to the Bob Marley Museum in the night. He opened it up for him, and he went there, the security was going crazy because it wasn't planned, but he said he could not come to.
Frankie, we keep you keep chipping out a bit, unfortunately. Why don't we try turning off your video and just so we can hear what you have to say? Is that possible? Could you just turn your video off and we can so we're able to just hear you, which I think is more important at this point. Yeah, still not hearing you. Let's see if that helps a little bit. All right, let's try that. Not hearing you at the moment. Sorry, it's there. Sorry, Frankie, it's not working for some reason. Really, really sorry about that. Nothing. Yeah, sorry, we're not getting anything, any volume, any audio right now. Why don't you try leaving and coming back? We'll try it one more time. And if not, we'll have to try it some other time. Sorry about that, guys. We're gonna give it one more shot. I think what he has to say is very, very important, and I really want to make sure that we are able to have this discussion if we're able to, and really to get Frankie's insight. Because I think it's important. That's what we were trying to do today. To not necessarily have you hear my opinion, which we can get into that at some point, but really to have a discussion by people who are in the industry, and we're trying to get just a little bit of a variety, if you will, of opinions and try to bring context to this whole thing. Because sometimes, I'm not saying this is what happened, is what is happening here, but sometimes there's a bit of a recency bias, and you get upset and kind of have a knee-jerk reaction to what's happening in the moment because it's such a drastic change. I'm not necessarily saying that's what's happening here, but I think it's important to look back at history and ask, hey, has something like this happened before? And could a person like Frankie give us some sort of historical context to this if this has happened before? All right, let's try it again, Frankie. Ah, man, so sorry. All right, somebody came up with a good idea. Let's just do, I think this is good. Let's just do a phone call. All right, so if you could, Frankie, I'm going to ask you to text your phone number. Text your phone number to my, let me see if I get my producer. Hold on one second. I'm going to call you. Let's do that. I'm going to. Call you. All right, I'm going to call you back, Frankie. Let's see if we can get you on the phone instead of over here on the stream. All right, we're going to get it. We're going to figure it out. Even if I have to hold my phone up to the mic here. Good idea, Paula Bev. All right, I'll wait for that to come in, and then we'll try to get Frankie to come on. All right, let's do some, meanwhile, while we try to work that out, let's go back to the comments here. So this is going back to Tish's comment here about being a bit more sensitive. And I was talking about like the historical context of this. And then, you know, Frankie was also, I'm not sure if this is the direction that he was going into, but the point he was making with Sean Paul and Shaggy, and it's been 20 years from the last big hit, and just kind of bringing full context of the state of Jamaican music, dancehall in the global impact. It has definitely gone down and we've become less relevant. I mean, I'm not here to point fingers or blame anybody, but that's just the reality that there is right now. And that Jamaica is just not musically at this point in time in 2026. It's just not as musically relevant. And what Frankie was saying is that the artists that we have become regionally popular and almost in a subculture kind of way is becoming influential in that way. But globally, we're just not having the hits. And I feel so lucky to have been grown up in that generation in coming into my young adulthood in college and post-college, and that being my culture and that being like the number one, that and hip hop, I would say, number one and number two types of music that when I went out, that is what you were hearing. There was no ED. I mean, there was electronic music around, but not like it is today. There was no Afro beats, that's for sure, or at least it wasn't as popular. And when me and my friends went out in the early 2000s, being millennials, in college for sure, and post-college, it was hip hop and dance hall. It's all you heard on the radios and in the clubs, at the bars. And that just is not what the situation is right now. I've had discussions about this on my live stream before. This is almost when I first started this channel. The OG followers might remember this discussion. We were talking about, at the time, Bounty Killer was kind of, in a way, saying the same thing. He was just talking about, I'm paraphrasing here, the importance of having a more globalized appeal and the type of music that you're making in respect to understanding it, like literally understanding the lyrics, and then also having like a good rhythm that goes with it that you can kind of feel. And at the time, Afro beats was really taking off and had fully taking over dance hall's spot, if you will. And that's kind of that was like, that discussion was years and years ago that we had on the live stream. And it's just interesting that we're here at the same juncture, if you will, in a different way. And it's funny in the sense that now you have this Hill and Gully rhythm, which is musically, historically relevant and is part of Jamaica's history and part of Jamaica's musical history. And it's being looked at in this very, very controversial way. I would love to hear somebody, I don't know if there's anybody in the comment section that is in favor of this or looks at this as a positive thing and a good thing for music, Jamaican music and dancehall music. I would love to kind of hear the understanding. And I'm not here to like bash you or anything like that. I'm here to kind of learn and kind of understand. And even with my question to Frankie about the music and musician and producer taking responsibility, I wouldn't imagine, like I'm putting myself in their shoes, right? And I wouldn't imagine that they would take responsibility for this. And I saw somebody in the comments mention parents, right? And that if a kid decides to act or do something based on a song or music or artist, that is not the musician's responsibility or producer's responsibility. It's that of the parents and maybe their community, right? And that my presumption is that would be the argument. And in a sense, I don't know. I feel like they're right in that sense. But to say or to think that music isn't influential, because as Frankie was just saying, Nelson Mandela, while he was on Robben's Island, was listening to Bob Marley as motivation and to get him through his time there. So it is that's a positive outlook, right? So I got Frankie here. Let me see if I can give him a call. All right, let's see. All right, let's see if this works. Can you guys hear it ringing? I'm doing it through the mixer here. Let's see if we get him. Stop ringing. All right, let me try one more time. Thanks, everybody, for your patience here.
Hello.
Hey, Frankie, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Pretty good.
All right. This is much, much better. Okay, great. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's do it this way. Everybody can hear you. Can everybody hear Frankie? I'm just trying to listen to the comments here.
Yeah, checking 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
Yes, they can hear you. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, we got it.
Okay, great. Oh, so where do I start back from?
Okay, so let's go back to when you were talking about Sean Paul and Shaggy. Jamaican dancehall hasn't had a hit in 20 years.
A major hit, hit.
Major hit in 20 years.
Like I said before, and the 5 mistake, it was me. It was clever. That song was clever, and everybody heard it and had a smile on their face. They knew exactly what Sean was trying to achieve, and it worked. And the album sold over a million, 70 million or some crazy amount. Because you see what really happens is that you have something called double entendre, which is French for it has 2 meanings.
Mm-hmm.
In an innocent meaning or a risky meaning. And that's what people like Pharaoh use a lot. When Pharaoh sang Saltfish as a young person, all I was hearing was him saying about saltfish. But of course, we knew as adults that he was talking about something completely different. But a young child listening to that All I heard was about saltfish, which I did. When I heard that song the first time, I said, wow, he's describing saltfish totally and perfectly, you know? And that's a clever way of disguising what you want to say, but it's blatant to come out and just blatantly talking these things. Obviously, because it's turning off a lot of people. And do you want that kind of influence on young children? Because, of course, gone are the days when things are censored. There's nothing censored anymore. Everything is on your telephone. There's no control. Your parents don't have any control. Your teachers don't have control. Nobody has control. You are alone control. And that's why I noticed that even in Australia, they are not banned. They are banned children under 16 years old from using the internet, from going on social media. And other countries are catching up, you know, because our influence as musicians, believe it or not, it is in many cases more important than parents, especially nowadays, because as this current generation of parents have dropped the ball, and instead of being parents, we try to be our friends to our children, and we were very busy. When I was growing up, my mother was a housewife, and my father looked after the money. No, the ladies are working more than the men. So the mothers are working, you know, so they're not around the kids as much as they used to be. So what is influencing the children?
And Frankie, I want to hop back to what you were saying about dancehall not having had a major hit in 20 years. And what do you, from your perspective, what do you think the industry or this genre of music needs to consider doing in order to get back on top, or at least climb towards that direction?
Go back to the roots of what reggae music, the book, worldwide, anywhere in the world it goes. It has always been a positive message for Black people, and not just Black people, but people are suppressed. People are downtrodden. You know, you are the voice. You are the musical voice of the world. Simple, that's why in death Bob Marley became more popular. And every year it becomes more popular, right? Because its lyrics remain to the test of time. And it's still relevant. After 40 years, the man dead 40 years, 40-something years. And his lyrics are even more relevant now than it was 40 years ago. It's crazy. And they should take a page out of people like Bob Marley and Jamaica and the rest of us who are positive. That's the point. I'm not saying there's room for fun music. There's room for entertainment. There's room for dancing. There's room, you know, to have a great time. There's nothing wrong with that. But you can do all of that and still be positive without being lewd. Without the violence, without talking about going and shooting people and you know, carrying out all the things that they do. You know, and don't tell me foolishness on that for young people. That's what young generation think. That's crazy.
Right.
That makes no sense. You know, and it comes right down to the kids in school today. Like I was saying earlier, I tripped out on when I was going to school, high school. Nobody died from the gun or being stabbed or being beaten to death. Now in Jamaica, every year, at least a dozen kids are killed in school. That's crazy. Why is this happening? A couple weeks ago, they stabbed a young man brought a knife, school, and he stabbed a student, a fellow student. And he died. And the TV went in and it was interviewing some girls. And a young lady in her uniform said, she'll do the same. I would have bought the knife and stabbed him too. Can you imagine that?
Man.
I mean, they blacked out a photograph of image on TV and actually, but it's crazy. Just imagine, and this was probably 14 years old. So this is the kind of mentality.
Yeah.
So we have music has a very important part to play, because I think that the music and friends, that's cool. your friends, that's where the most influential part in a young person's life, because number one, with the telephone, you don't choose what you want to hear, what you want to watch. You're not influenced by parents anymore, right? You don't have to listen to radio anymore. You don't have to watch television anymore. So therefore, you now choose what you want to listen to. How many people are listening to this program? How many young people are listening to this program?
Well, what can the industry do in the sense that we obviously live in a country that has free speech and freedom of expression, and this is out there, right? And the youth are taking to it, but what does the industry do? Miss Ellington was calling on the Minister of Culture, Olivia Grange, to say something or to address this. But even with that, what are the options?
Well, at least office, maybe our hands are tied. Because, of course, like I said, internet is available to everyone on one of the phone.
Mm-hmm.
But at least she should come out and, in our opinion, should be known, because she's the one, ultimately, she's the government minister in charge, right? No, I am not for 1 minute 10. There are mental songs from way back when, and there are reggae songs. I remember there's a group called Lloyd and the Low Bike. They had an entire album with nude music. Well produced songs, right? But they heavier than lyrics, right? After it was funny, the way they put it, but it was nude.
Mm-hmm.
No, the point is that my son and my daughter would not have heard that. They were never in a position to hear it back in those days, 30, 40 years ago. They just didn't have the access to hearing that, because they're not going to a dance hall, and they're not going to any place where anybody's playing that. So they were never exposed to that. But unfortunately, we can't protect the young people today, and that is a main problem. Because you always had the good news. You always had songs that came out. Of course, the most important thing was, like I said before, double on top, what would have been the ones that were skillfully done, right? But in the ones that were not skillfully done, then you were not exposed. Young children were not exposed to this kind of thing.
I mean, it's such a hard thing to. I mean, it's the world we live in. I think that's what ultimately what you're saying here, and it's hard to kind of keep these things in a box. And I'm on our screen right now. We're just playing. I was just playing a little bit of the Massacre version of the video of the song. Excuse me. And I'm looking at the numbers. It's 4 million views on this video in 3 weeks. So it's extremely, extremely popular, and it's out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there?
Definitely.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead, please. Please go ahead, Frankie.
Of course. We come on. The world is. You go towards the least. I mean, come on. Everybody gravitates towards what is bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is forbidden truth. So of course, everybody, they'll go towards that, and of course, what their friends are listening to and everybody's excited about, they're going to be excited about it also, right? And that's why the churches are having a half problem today.
Mm.
I saw an article online whereby you have so many churches in America closing down, and the venues are turning into bars and nightclubs. Churches are turning into bars and nightclubs. No, it's that, unfortunately for us in Jamaica, that's not happening yet. We still have a lot of churches. No, I don't know what the influence of the churches are. Obviously, it's waning. It's not as strong as it was 40 years ago. And they are struggling, more here.
Right.
Because, remember that they have no panty days. The school children have no panty days.
Never heard of this before.
I mean, it's crazy.
What?
I mean, these are high school kids. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And, and everything is so easy now, accessible. And that is the biggest problem. If it was not accessible, then they would have probably could be, if it was the dance hall, that kids are not allowed. you know.
But I
That's
think,
why
but I think like this is you're speaking to a much bigger societal problem, and at the end of the day, I think ultimately it comes down, and you're saying this, but it comes down to the community that you're a part of and the influence that that community has on the kid, our kids, and that, you know, the parents, you know, at the end of the day, it really is the parents are, like you're saying, the parents in many cases, because you have a lot of single working mothers that are there, and they are taking on the responsibility, the dual responsibility, and they may not be dual parent responsibility, and they might not be there to be as influential as they would have liked and we would have liked as a society. And so this is, I mean, as I'm hearing you speak, like this is a much, much bigger problem that we are facing as a society than dancehall music.
Yep.
I don't know where to begin to have that discussion or to address it. But I think one of the first things that is important to recognize is to say that there is an issue here and recognize it as an issue, and then kind of move towards, I'm sure, a multifaceted solution, because it's concerning. It definitely is concerning.
Yeah, when I was young, village with children, if you're from the rural parts of Jamaica and you misbehave on the road, then Miss Jane or Master Joe could give you a slap in, right? And if you go home and you complain to your parents that Master Joe beat you because you're misbehaving, then beat you also. Then be another beating, right? No, that it's a sentiment that the village looks after the kids, for argument's sake. Right, they were gatekeepers. No, if you are going to a high school or any school and you complain about a teacher, chances are the parents, the father, if he's around, may come to school with a machete and going to shoot the teacher or chop up the teacher. I mean, that's how bad it is.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, who do you complain to? You know what I mean? But from our perspective, for the industry, for music, all we're saying as responsible musicians is that there is no reason to be at so many young people, you know, singing obscene music and violent music. It's about violence and music about, you know, shooting people and robbing people and doing all sorts of violent things. Yeah, they have all the other topics that you could choose. And we know that not everybody was a Christian like person.
Right.
We know that. We're not being silly. So I think you can be positive with your message, even in a funny way, dancing, or some other way instead of what they're doing now. But why are you so rude, man? Come on, this is crazy.
But from what you're seeing, Frankie, is there even a little appetite to do music of that nature by any artist that you may be familiar with or know? I'm not saying you to name any of these artists, but you know, is this something that is being discussed, or you know, they're doing things in the studio and making this type of music to even from an experimental level to kind of bring to the wider public?
Yeah, but I'm sure that in the studio, I saw a documentary on when Church was there before the news, and they sat down and for days with the lyrics and working out the lyrics. And saying, okay, what will work from what will work, and what can be used on radio, what can't be used on radio, right? Because you're limiting your possibilities how far a song can reach. So you're going to reach an audience. He has 4 million views. You're going to reach an audience still small comparatively, and are you going to be selling any material? And can you open the doors? Can you open the really big doors internationally with what you're doing? You will reach a certain point, and you will make some quick money, because you always have these young people that want that kind of material. But as against a Buju Banton, for argument's sake, or as against some of the more positive people are lasting for years. Why is Bob Marley still the number one reggae artist in the world? Why is he selling still after death 40 years after that, he's selling more than all of us. Why? Because of his lyrics. During COVID, you know that during COVID, everybody went back and started to buy back Bob's music again. As a motivation, just something for them to listen to during COVID, during the locked up. And Bob was selling again a lot of music during COVID. You know? Now, are they going to be selling music? Those songs going to be selling 2 years from now? A year from now? No. It's very disposable for the moment and move on to somebody else. There's no lasting effect.
But I don't... And Frankie, sorry to interrupt you, but I don't think that's unique to dancehall. Like you see that in hip hop culture as well, where these artists will just do these lyrics, be just brash and out there, and they flame out. You know, they'll be hot for 2 years, 3 years maybe, and then you kind of never hear about them again. And then the next wave comes. Do you think that that's kind of the trajectory, if you will, of some of these artists that we have here, their careers of just being short-lived and kind of Jamaica moves on afterwards?
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. But the point is that as an artist, are you planning to die before you're 30? I mean, aren't you planning to be an artist for the rest of your life?
Right.
The question, when we have our seminars, we ask them this. I mean, okay, you're young now, you're 21, 22, 23, whatever, 19. Are you going to be 19 for the rest of your life? Are you ever going to get old? Are you Peter Pan? Will never get old? Right? So therefore, the point is that they should look toward their future. Right? Nobody, when I started music, we started music 50 years ago, nobody told us about retirement. Nobody told us that stay towards retirement. Because over the last few years in Jamaica, they're pushing the whole retirement situation. And we were lucky enough to have enough sense to put in some sort of, retirement fund. But the point is that I was pushing them and said, look, we have so many examples of people who were popular 20 years ago and nobody cares about today. And they're suffering because those songs are not earning the kind of royalties that a singer earns. Because how many persons will be doing over those songs? They're not doing over the DJs, they're not doing over the dancehall songs. They do over the singing songs. I tell people all the time, Michael Jackson did, as popular as he was, he did a lot of songs that were done before. Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, all of them, they recorded other people's songs, great songs. But once you have a great song with great lyrics, you have a chance of that song living forever. And the royalties as you're picking up on those songs 10, 15, 20 years down the road. Right? You're 19 now, but you have to think about the future.
And are they receptive to this messaging and kind of
not really. What I told them, remember, once you're 19 or 20 and 21, and you're earning money and you buy a BMW, and you're touring diaspora in the Caribbean islands, right? And you go to North America and wherever the Jamaicans and Caribbean are, you're fine. They don't understand it's temporary. And then you look 20 years down the road and it's one is struggling. A lot of the young artists die and they can't be buried. Because them obviously easy come, easy go.
Wow.
And when they were making a lot of money, they just spent it foolishly. So recording these songs obviously temporarily making you get money, you get rich, and you can timely, you can buy all the stuff you want.
I liken it to the career timeline of a professional athlete. And you got maybe 4 or 5 years if you're lucky, and then it's over. And I don't think a lot of athletes see that. And it sounds very familiar what you're saying. They're making all this money, they get the BMW, they spend it, they're touring, they're living the life, and they don't think beyond the next year, and they don't realize or even understand that this window is closing very, very rapidly, and you need to prepare accordingly. And they think it's going to last forever. And I think also even when the window is closed and they don't realize the window is closed, they keep trying and trying and trying. And unfortunately, their run is over and they don't realize it.
Yeah, that's perfectly true. You know, so the point is that it's more situation, more chronic than we even think. All right, they're doing these songs on upsetting a lot of older people. Fine, it's one problem. But the thing is that these songs will not last.
Mm-hmm.
I tell them to write a great song. You know, write No More No Cry. Can you write No More No Cry? How many versions have been done? The amount of money Bob Marley's estate has made off of No More No Cry. Not Bob's version, but other people singing it over.
Yeah.
It's incredible. You know what I mean? I mean, I've heard of over 50 versions, you know, and it's money coming into the estate. And if Bob was alive, Bob would be smiling,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and how many of the DJ songs that you know of, I know, whether clean or dirty, have been done over, right? Not many, because it's not easy to duplicate those songs, and nobody wants to duplicate an upbeat song that lasts for 6 months or 3 months, and then fades away into nothing, you know. But like I said before, they have the talent and they have the sound, so why not be positive in what you're doing? Have fun. Do some fun songs, do some dance songs. There were some groups in the last 20 years ago that did a lot of dance group. I think what's his name? Not business, the group name. But you know, the Ding Dong Pregnancy has a lot of party songs. That's great. Nothing is wrong with that. You know what I mean? And of course, nobody gets tired of hearing love songs.
All right.
The great Bob Marley did love songs, you know, and those songs will live on forever. If you have a great love song, it will live on forever, you know. But I listened to the songs today before I came on the radio, and come on, I'm not a prude. You know, I get just as much trouble as a young man as everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wasn't a devout Christian or anything. You know, the point is that it's just crazy and it's a blatant. You know, our nice boy, he did one which wasn't bad, suggestive, but pretty good. You know what I mean? Why people don't take a picture of his book for this blatant nastiness, man. I understand why Faye got so upset.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? As a cultural icon herself, you know, she's an actress, she does a lot of, you know, she teaches at university. And obviously she's disappointed. And I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I remember
when people said, go ahead.
And I was saying in before you came on the phone here, I was asking for, and maybe you could shed light on this, like what would be the argument for doing something like this? You know what I'm saying? Like, so what would say either a young person, the artist, the producer, like the justification, and this would be, I would say, justification outside of likes and views and money.
They say that they don't. Their argument is we're not role models. We don't make ourselves role models. When I have discussions, seminars, that's what the young people say. Boy, we don't appoint ourselves role models. We did not appoint ourselves. Mm-hmm. Right? And the parents are supposed to look after them and teachers, and our job that's not our job. Right? And we choose to accept any responsibility that these songs are influencing them. And it's just pure monetary, money as we discussed earlier, you know, and they choose to take responsibility. And say, well, you know, okay, they never appoint themselves as no damn, role model for young people. It is crazy. Without the young people, without their fans, they are nothing. And they are influencing their fans. And they know that. And they influence them. But if they're nowadays, they're not buying the records. They just download them and listen to them as free as that bird. You know, But they go to the shows, and they get a lot of money off live performances. You know, of course, certain people will not use them, and there's certain shows won't use them, but they have their circuit.
And
before, I like.
And I'm just on his Massacre. I've heard of him before, but I don't know him that well. I honestly, I couldn't name you any song of his, to be honest. But it looks like he's a pretty popular artist just from the views on his YouTube channel, and he has 1.6 million followers. And so whether he likes it or not, he's influential. Like that is without question. Yeah.
That's what we keep on telling them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, some of the younger ones, they have 20 million views for some of the songs, some of the older songs. I mean, come on. They are influential.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they influence a lot. And who are they influencing? Who are they? They're not influencing me or you.
Right.
Definitely not. Who are they influencing? The average 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 14-year-old. And nowadays 12-year-olds. Listening to what's happening now. We saw a pornographic film with some young kids. When I say young kids, I mean babies, 11, 12 years old, 10, 11, 12. And the producer was like 10. Cameraman was like 10. Yes. And you must see how the camera was steady. But that was steady, you know.
Wow.
I tell you, and I mean, this was unheard of course. And all the time, whenever I'm not phone, I would have no respect, movies. But the point is that this is what you influence with the young people, kids. And because their parents, the young parents who are now in their 30s or late 20s, 30s, get themselves bad. Because they are coming from, the vast lifestyle and move all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they are crazy. They're not influencing their kids in a meaningful way. You know what I mean?
Man.
And I'm not saying that you have to go to church.
Right.
To push them and force them to go to church. Just teach them a basic fundamental, what is right and what is wrong. How are you going to make it? You have to go to school, at least try to get some education, generally speaking. Try to make it yourself by being educated. Even if you don't use it later on, right? But at least you have the education. But that's the main sure way to make headways in life. To be educated, right? So why not encourage your kids to do the right thing, listen to the right music, study hard at school, and try to go to university if it's possible. Even if you don't reach university, but at least have a basic education, right? And know what's right from wrong. Simple as that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we need, like, as you're going through what you're saying about education, staying in school, and, creating opportunities for yourself as a young person, I think we need more role models and more mentorship, and there needs to be, I think, more adults and maybe even young adults that these young people can look up to and say, hey, I want to be like him when I grow up. I want to be like her when I grow up. I want to have her career. I want to drive her car. I want to have her house. I want to have her life when I'm an adult. And I don't know if those types of people, those types of adults are getting enough exposure to our young people where they can see themselves, these young people can see themselves in these adults and having these careers and living a good life, as opposed to kind of the influence that we're seeing with this music situation. And I think that is something is missing very greatly, because if you look at it, and this is one of the points you were making when we were talking about the family structure, and sometimes it lacks, and then the onus of raising the children falls on the community and falls on the village. And if we don't have those mentors that our young people can look up to, it's going to make it an extremely challenging society to grow up in. And then what kind of world do we live in 10 years from now, when these young people are now adults and they're moving into the working, their first jobs and become working class Jamaicans, or maybe are just coming into the workforce in general. And it's like now is the time that you have to invest into the minds and the spirits of these young people, or else, again, what kind of future is it going to be?
Yeah, that's exactly. No, the problem is that they don't have more musicians than sports people, obviously, than proper sporting people. Because to make a Jamaican track team, my God, you have to be 1 out of a million.
Yeah.
Right now, you can have hundreds of musicians who are doing well.
Mm-hmm.
So they are more influential. Now, of course, they look at Usain Bolt, and when you hear what Usain Bolt went through, generally speaking, during his career, they not do that. They not sacrifice.
Yeah.
They not sacrifice. They saw his success, and they realize that he's now rich and famous and earn a lot. I've earned a lot of money, etc. But they are not going through what that people like Usain Bolt and Sherry and stuff went through, because it's torture to do what they did. Because Usain Bolt told me that after Blake won the trial, meeting with 200 and 100, that season he trained like he said he was vomiting every training session. He was vomiting, right? It's not easy. You have to wake up early in the morning and train. No. So therefore, you don't have that many role models who are athletes or cricketers or footballers naturally. And they're very busy. But you have many more performers, athletes. But unfortunately, we the older ones, they're not listening to, because we're too old. The ones who are willing to go out there and have seminars and talk to them are us, the older ones, who understand what it takes and why they should try to do the right thing from now to therefore, 20, 30 years down the road. But then that's 20 years. Then I don't know what they're doing for 5 years down the road.
Wow.
Right? We all are retired and we're idiots. Right? That's the mentality that they have. So they just not listen to us. And then the younger ones, they're too busy and too selfish to go out and explain. Shaggy, every reggae month, Shaggy has a seminar. And, but of course, who goes to the seminars? Once they're successful, there's no need to go. There's no need to go. It's the up and coming ones, they will go. The ones who are successful, they have money, they're rich, for the time being. And they're not listening to you. They're not listening to you. And that's where it's a catch-22 situation where the ones who are supposed to be taking in the information, they're not listening to you. The ones who will never make it, and the ones who are trying to make it, they listen. But most of them will never make it, because it's not a very easy business, as you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's, sorry, continue.
What? No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that's really unfortunate to hear, because I think if you made it in a particular industry, I would think you would have some sense of responsibility to give back to that industry and to also to help grow and further it. And one of the best ways to do it is to speak to the young people and to especially if you have influence over them. So it's kind of disheartening to hear that the willingness to do so is not there.
But these very young ones, the ones who are really popular, current, because remember, they are adored. They are adored by the masses. So all they want to do is perform and just cross all over the place, But after a while, they probably get into their 30s or late 30s or 40s. Then some of them realize and they want to give back. By then it's too late. They say, old boy, you're old boy.
Wow.
Not listening to you. That is a problem. Every time you have a seminar, it's the same people around and around. Same people join the organization. Same people join JCAP, right? And jams and all the publishing companies and stuff to protect them. And then later on, they realize that in 2026, they don't even, a lot of them, they publish things in that set. And they just making instant money now, and later on in life, they're not getting money to start to quit, and that's the time they want to join these organizations. And it's too late, the music stopped playing. The music is not playing again. And you figure, we went through all of this trauma back in the 60s and 70s, right? When nobody told us what to do. And we learned the hard way, and we are trying to teach them now. But they're not listening. Because they're richer than you, and they're not listening. They don't care. That is a major problem. So, you know, it's very hard. It's very, very hard. Okay, the system in school, for argument's sake, with the track and field, everybody wants to go to champ. And as a result, there's all the line coming up. Class 4, class 3, class 2, class 1. And you'll all have people coming through the system, right? And you'll all have people breaking through, right? And they know what it takes to train. All the schools want to win champs. They know what it takes to train. They go crazy, you go to Calabar, you go basic, home or wherever. You know what it takes to train, highway rather. You know, and therefore you're being taught that from your in first form at high school, even before high school, even primary school and prep school, you have the sports and things. Unfortunately, in music, they don't have that.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They don't have that. Usually it's when they leave school, if they're most earlier, you know, they're looking up to know somebody in the system, because we have a formal system in Europe and America and developed countries. All the young people from their age 5 or 6 to do some artistic endeavor. Yeah, the girls are ballet dancers or you're singing a choir or you play a piano or something. But when you reach high school, you're more or less have started to do something, and even if it's not a music school, but you join a P club or you join the marching band or something. But by the time you reach college, even if you're not becoming a musician, you have a musical background.
Right.
Your appreciation for music is much higher. In Jamaica now, we both, when we were 16 and 17 and 18, I would do a thing and get lucky. You know what I mean?
So
I figure that work.
yeah, I just want to hop in here, Frankie, and of course want to be very respectful of your time. We're about to have you on here about an hour, and
wow, already?
Yeah, I know. It flies. But I do want to give you an opportunity here to kind of close us out with any last minute messaging, if you will, on this situation, and we'll take it from there. Yeah.
I think I just want to say that I understand how Faye Ellison feels as somebody who was in the art as actress on the radio at university, and what she thinks about her culture. So I cultural ambassador to Jamaica for years. I know she's very upset and disturbed about the lyrical content of the music and of her Hill and Gully ride. I am not personally as sentimental about Hill and Gully as such, but certainly the lyrics is appalling, and we could have done much better as an industry when we were recording. I have to blame the genius. He did a fantastic rhythm, but he also allowed a lot of jokers to come on his rhythm and voice a lot of slackness that don't augur well for me at all. I'm not pleased with that, and I don't know where that music is going. 6 months from now, I don't know. I guess a new file will come in and we'll forget about them. But the point is that I would have preferred to hear at least half of them. So we really sensible, decent, nice, positive, uplifting lyrics or fun lyrics instead of all the nastiness that I've been hearing. So thanks for having me. I hope that I wasn't too boring for the listeners and the viewers, and I'm sorry about not being able to see me. But next time, hopefully, we'll have a better internet connection.
No, this has been very, very great, and we really appreciate your perspective on this. And I don't know if you could see the chat, but we have a lot of comments coming in, a lot of engagement here. So we appreciate you taking the time. Our guest has been Frankie Campbell of the famous Fab 5 band. Thank you so much for bringing context here, and we'd love to have you again on at some point in the future.
Thank you.
Okay, have a great Sunday. Bye-bye. All right, glad we were able to make that work. Okay, great. And thank you everybody for your engagement here. I want to let's go over to the comment section here. I see them coming in, and let's get some get some comments here. Flower says, agreed, but Bob Marley was more popular around the world than in Jamaica when he started out. Remember the ignorance against Rasta, but he is now the greatest lyricist I ever hear. I think a lot of people would agree with that statement. Unique says, I don't listen to dancehall music due to the obvious explicit content, but to be outraged now, I was in my school uniform when explicit content was blasting on the radio, buses, and taxis. Trying to go up here a little bit. All right, let's keep rolling. What else we got here? Jala says, yes, in music and sports particularly, you have to financially plan for your future. Yeah, that happens a lot. I think we see that very common, at least I know a lot in American sports. Maybe that's because I just pay a little bit more attention there. And you hear about it all the time, these athletes with these tens of millions of dollars contracts. And when they finish, or very shortly after their career has come to an end, they go broke. And it's you hear it more often than not, to be honest. It's kind of crazy. And what Frankie was saying, it's a very paralleled experience in the music industry, that these artists start making a lot of money and they flame out and they're not hot forever. But I also think, obviously, they need to take some accountability and responsibility for their actions and how they spend their money. But I also think it is a factor of where they're coming from and not having the perhaps personal finance education and obviously personal finance discipline when it comes to their money, and they think it's going to last forever and this money is going to continue to come in at the same rate that it has when they were at their peak. And then you'll have the very hard, when I say hard from an ego perspective, a reality of knowing and maybe slowly figuring out that you are no longer as relevant as you thought you were. And you had spent all this money thinking that this was going to be going for another year, another 5 years, or perhaps even forever. And so, and Frankie making that point was with this particular song. He's like he said, let's see where it is in 3 months. Let's see where it is in 3 years, sort of thing. And sometimes artists make songs and decisions for the here and now, and maybe not for their future. But like you said, we'll see. Anyone complaining who haven't promoted the Jamaican Cultural Development Commission, JCDC, and supported the youth getting involved in healthy and uplifting cultural activities can sit this one out. I think I might have read this. As a young girl growing up in Jamaica, bombarded with loose and vulgar music, I immersed myself into beautiful part of our culture through the support of JCDC, traveling and performing poetry. Beautiful. Tisha says, Throp Massacre's song is not that bad compared to other songs on the Riddim. Oh, I don't know. I didn't even know there were others. I heard the artist names, but I didn't listen to them. Unique says, so we can't be outraged by the negative without promoting what would be a positive alternative influence. But there are, again, I'm not in the weeds here of dancehall and even reggae music, but I feel like there are popular conscious artists out there. I saw Justin naming a few with Chronics. I can't even find it. But there are, my point is, there are conscious reggae artists out there, but they're just, I don't think they're as popular or getting as much eyeballs and ears on their music. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody in the comment section? Flower says, sir, most of you in high society don't do the right thing. I'm not sure if you're referring to me or Frankie there. I might be getting that one out of context. Unique says, let's be fair, an artist can create something and it's not promoted and pushed to the public by the media, then it's not really that influential. The power lies in the hands of those who spread the music, distribution, right? Great point. Tisha says, it actually captures dancehall the best and is the least vulgar, believe it or not, just mentioning because it's the one you're highlighting. Also commenting on the conversation itself now, maybe kids shouldn't look to dancehall at all for guidance or motivation, etc., maybe they should look to reggae, as dancehall has always been overly expressive, especially sexually. The artists literally do what captures an audience right now. They don't consider anything else. A good point, and 100% agree with you, Tisha. But I think, and this is what Frankie was saying, is that as a young person, you're going to listen to what other kids are listening to, or at least what, you know, the cool kids will dictate that. At least that was my experience growing up. And the music is what's, again, my experience is what influenced what being cool was. And, you know, for me, I didn't really listen to music in high school. I didn't really listen to popular music in high school. I think it was in school growing up period, like going like elementary school, junior high, high school. And I got into rap, which is really late. I didn't get into rap until I was in 9th grade, into hip hop. And the first album I bought was Eminem's LP. And that's and then I got hooked, you know, and then I was singing the lyrics. And, you know, in early 2000s, everybody can remember how controversial Eminem was. And that became like, and everybody's acting, spitting the lyrics, jokes are made, and not just Eminem, but just like the whole hip hop culture in general, dressing like them. And the influence is there, but I don't think, Tisha, it's much of a choice, if you will, like a conscious choice of a young person, because they're immersed by this culture, and all around them, and the cool people and kids in school are listening and acting according to these songs. So you're going to want to be cool, and you don't want to be an outsider. So you're going to listen to it. Again, generally speaking, I'm not saying this is one of these things where if Billy jumps off the bridge, you're going to jump off a bridge too type situation. But I think that's just the reality of society, and it goes across cultures, and it's not necessarily something that is unique to Jamaica. But there is a fight against it, or should be a fight against it, in terms of it influencing our young people. And I think that fight, at the end of the day, has to happen at home. And yes, I was influenced by this music growing up, for sure, but it wasn't to the point of it being detrimental to my future, and wasn't to the point where I am necessarily going to act in a violent or demeaning way based on these lyrics, because I had a proper upbringing. I had my parents who was really the influence of my behavior, and then the same with my friends. And so we all had goals and futures of going to college, etc. And then the morals and values that I grew up with was also being instilled into my friends by their parents. And I think because of that, you kind of have this circular reinforcement. Even though you had this outside influence with music, it didn't necessarily dictate who we. Yeah, maybe I was gonna say it didn't dictate who we were, but it definitely influenced it, for sure. From a cultural standpoint, I feel like hip hop culture definitely, in a big way, has influenced my upbringing, and then that of my friends as well. But it's not my personality. I won't say that. I love hip hop to this day. I love the mentality of it. I love the creativity, and that is probably one of the most influential types of music. But it's not the only music that I listen to either. You know, I don't necessarily need to go into that, but you know, I was lucky enough to have a very diverse exposure to a diverse set of music. Of course, reggae was in my household, was played a lot. I mean, my mom always played like crazy. I know ABBA like the back of my hand, because my mom grew up on ABBA, and in her household in Fiji, and then that was what she played in our household. And I know every single ABBA song that's out there. And when I went to Sweden, I went to the ABBA museum. So it's like there are these influences, but it comes down from in a big way from our parents, at least in my experience. But at the same time, there is these cultural influences that happens amongst peers. So my point in saying that, I don't want to diminish that. I think it's very, very important to acknowledge that, and for us as a society on either side, to say that music isn't influential, I think that's very, very disingenuous. I'm not saying that you're saying that here, Tesha. I'm just making a broad general point here. All right, let's keep rolling here. Unique says, trying to push our thought process through to the youth is not as effective as giving them alternative positive means of expression, such as introducing them to positive music and the arts early. Agreed. I think that's what happened to me. Like, we got introduced to, and I say we, me and my brothers, like, we got introduced to music formally when we were about, every one of us at like 7 years old, and just playing instruments. But not everybody has that opportunity, that ability. But we were, I mean, you know, even in church, even before that in church, we weren't in choir or anything. But I mean, in elementary school, we were in choir. We were required to be in choir in first grade. So we're looking at about 6 years old. So I think you're making a good point there. Bear says, you old heads are a bunch of hypocrites, just like how you made your mistake. Allow these kids also. Music is natural expression. You can't gate art. That's fair enough. But I think opinions need to be stated, and it's important to bring context to this. I mean, you don't want to necessarily, in my opinion, you don't want to necessarily allow things to just completely run wild and rampant, and having some sort of guardrails with opinions, I don't think it's a bad idea. Maury says, I fully understand the push for cash flow into Jamaica, and for sure, for a population of 3 million, Jamaica has had an impact on the world, but the idea that mentorship in villages will produce an army of Bolts and Bobs and Shaggies is dubious. So is the idea that rural and working class Jamaicans can start investing in real estate? They struggle with basics every day. Minimum wage is low. Small business is risky. There should be microfinancing for small business like the Grameen business in India. Jamaicans, your kind of commenting is all over here. But my point in saying the mentorship is very, very powerful. I think it's so important, because I look at myself, and I look at my dad, and I look at his influence on me and my brothers. And yes, he's my dad, but that's definitely a form of mentorship. And, you know, my dad's way of mentorship is just this very repetitive nature that I think a lot of young people need. Like, even though you may be taught a lesson on Monday in year one, you need to be reminded of that lesson verbally over and over and over again by a mentor. Just like repetition is just so important. And sometimes repetition from one person could be maybe saying the same message from person A. You may hear it differently from person B. And this is why the village, the community is like so important. It's just kind of reinstilling these strong values in us. So I find my personal experience is just having mentors, positive people around me all the time, and growing up and standing on their shoulders, and them taking the time to teach me and to take me under their wing in just various different aspects of my life is very, very powerful. And it's kind of what makes up the human being that I am now at 42 years old here in Negro, Jamaica. And I think because of that, and because of my experience and the mentorship that I had growing up, I feel a sense of obligation to give back in that way to my community, and to be a mentor, and to also recognize my position of the influence that I have on anybody, but in more particular in young people. And, you know, if I could influence a young person in a positive way, and they can look and see themselves in me in whatever way, I think that's great. I think that's great. Tisha says, I do appreciate hearing from him. Thank you, Frankie. Fab Five, one of the best bands ever to come out of JA. I agree with that. Just says, all in all, I do think some of the younger artists could have been left off this rhythm, but even the better artists have some explicit content in there. Selectivity would have been key here. Justice says Chronix and Protege, two of the most popular and conscious artists out there today. That's right. That's right. Jala says, I didn't listen to popular music at high school either. Yep. Me either. I wasn't really one of the cool kids, but that's okay. I think it's because I didn't listen to that music. Naturally Yard says, just joining here, so I probably missed something. Dancehall of the late 70s and 80s were pure greatness. Unique says, so while you can listen to a type of music as a young person, whether or not you're influenced by it does determine whether you have a stronger influence in your home and community at large. And I think that is the biggest point here. I think that is, I mean, you summed it up perfectly. And because if you're going to listen to some of the raunchiest music, whether it's dancehall music or for me, hip hop music, for me, it's like, it's not going to have as much of an influence on me as somebody who is growing up in a neighborhood that doesn't have a mentor, that doesn't have somebody to look up to. Their dad isn't around, and they look to these artists and to this music and seeing themselves in the artist and seeing themselves in the music. And like, he grew up like me, and you're influenced by that. And if he's doing this, then that means I should do this if I want to end up where he is and be rich and famous and be looked at by society as somebody of status, so you summed it up perfectly, Unique. You summed it up perfectly. I think you hit this right on the head. And it depends on who is listening to it when. But if the majority of our society is susceptible to being influenced and perhaps even brainwashed by this type of music because we don't necessarily have the parental or community guardrails to fight against this, so to speak, or not be influenced by it, guys, because me and you will listen to it. Oh, this is a great song, great beat, sort of thing. Enjoy it, move on with our lives. But people listen to it and interpret the music in different ways, and I think it's important to recognize that. And I'm not saying, and again, I'll listen to these songs, or we'll listen to these songs, and it's just we're going to internalize it differently. And some of us may think it's disgusting, and we'll move on from it. But other young people, they may act on this, or they may be influenced a little bit, or maybe a lot differently than us. Jala says, my parents played reggae, soul, and jazz at home. Genres I grew to love. Very, very similar, I would say. Very similar upbringing to what I had. Keisha says, we can't police culture. It's a natural evolution. Fair enough, but should there be a line? I don't know. Jala says, my sister and I played Bob Marley's Kaya on repeat. Excellent point on mentorship. This is powerful, Unique says. Jala says, have now looked up 5-5, didn't know them, perhaps due to parents being Bayesian and Guyanese. Yeah, they're great. They're great. Oh, lucky for you. I mean, you have some great homework to do. The listening to them. Tisha says, I love Chronix, my fave actually. Still do love me some dancehall. Strong opinions coming from musically inclined person here. And I listen to it all too. Obviously, depending on what mood I'm in, what social circles we're in, and I appreciate it all. Like I appreciate it all. There isn't really. I can't, at least off the top of my head, I can't think of a music or song that's like, oh, I hate that person, or I'm not listening to it. But to each their own, for sure. Jala says, love Chronix too. Phil, music is influential, is a large aspect of our culture. Our culture shapes our identity, which surrounds us, shapes us. Hence why we have to focus on nature and nurture of selves and our children. Well said, well said. What's going on, Shauna? Happy Sunday to you. Okay, I think we are going to kind of wrap it up there. just want to do a few bits of housekeeping. So there is no live stream next Sunday. So we won't be streaming. Let me pull up the calendar here. I will try to come back on the 31st. No, I will. I'll stream on the 31st. Oh, no, I'm looking at the wrong date. Oh, no. Yeah, 31st. So 31st of May. That's going to be the next Sunday live stream. But we'll be back here on Thursday. We're going to stream here on Thursday. That'll be the last ThropX live stream. We have ThropX starting next Sunday, May 24th. And we've been working all year on this. Super excited. Really, really excited for ThropX this year. I was just in Treasure Beach yesterday. And that's the first time that we're going to be taking the real estate tour to that part of the island. I'm happy to report that they've done some road work in Black River. So the road, it's not completely fixed, but they've done some patchwork. So going through Black River is so much better than it was before. And then even in parts of Bluefield, and it's good to see. It's good to see, because I was expecting, I haven't been there since the last care package giveaway that we did in Black River. So it was good to see that there was some patchwork that is done there. It looks like it's temporary, I'm sure, because they're going to need to do that whole area over at some point. But just really happy to report that is done. And like I said, we'll be going to Treasure Beach on the 28th for the ThropX real estate tour. And we'll be doing the Negril real estate tour on the 27th, which we are very, very excited about. And ThropX opening dinner is next week, May 24th on Sunday, 1 week from now. And this is here already. I mean, time is just flying. I mean, and in my head, I'm in June already. Like, it's crazy. And then June is just so busy for me with a couple of, June and July, with a couple of conferences outside that I'll be going to. And time is flying. So, you gotta take time to smell the roses, and I would encourage all of you out there to do the same, and to slow down when you can. I'm in a bit of a phase where things are just go for me now, and I try to take a day or two when I can, or even just a few hours, just to kind of slow down, recalibrate. I think this is just so important in going through life. And now, though, it just seems like things are just moving, and even looking back at previous ThropXs, as sleepless as the week is, and as jam-packed that is with information and networking and talking and selfies and all of that, it just flies. I mean, ThropX goes and comes. It's crazy. It's crazy how quickly it is. And I just try to remind myself to, even in the moment of being in ThropX, is to like slow things down in my mind at least, and just appreciate what we're doing, appreciate what we're building, appreciate the people that I meet there and meeting there. And it's just also one of those experiences that every year, every time we're doing it, you just don't know the relationships that you're going to formulate, the friendships that you're going to formulate there. And it's just exciting, the unknown and the not knowing, right? Because you just don't know what's the connections that are going to happen, and then what they're going to burst into. You have no idea. So there's that excitement. And I was saying this to my team, we're doing it twice this year. It's so crazy. We're doing this again in November. So it's just like doubling up on that. It's just doubling up on these connections and these serendipitous moments, and the business opportunities that are created. We're doing it twice, and you can kind of feel it, which is just pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. We did, I should share this. It's so silly. All right, before we go, I got some cool news. I did I was on CVM, Friday night? I'm gonna see if I could share it here with you guys. Oh no, not that one. Oh yeah, okay. Oh no, this one is not the good one. So I did an interview on CVM last week, which was pretty awesome. And man, they did such a good job. I really, really appreciate them for having me on for so long. Let me try to get the one with the good. Nope, that's not it. No worries. We're going to play the vertical version here. One moment here. Let's see. How do I share? Oh, I gotta get rid of this. All right. Sorry, it's vertical, but this is what we got. So this is the interview that I did on CVM. We can just watch it together real quick.
Lots to share with you in the business report today as the build up to the 2026 staging of Western Jamaica's premier real estate investment conference accelerates. The week-long immersive experience, scheduled for May 24 to 30, continues to magnetize local and international investors, developers, and policymakers alike towards a practical look at what it takes to invest, build, and operate in some of the island's most desired locations. With the Travelers Beach Resort on the famed 7 Mile beach of Negril, marking the exact spot from which ThropX version 5 and its founder and CEO Winthrop Wellington opened the doors of perception on the present and future of real estate development and Western Jamaica's growth potential to the world.
The concept really came up from my online community. So I have a podcast, On Deck with Throp, and I do these live streams every Sunday. And they were thinking about, I wanted to do a meetup. And so I said, instead of doing a meetup and you guys just coming to meet me, how about I give some value? And I invited a bunch of the guests that I've had on my podcast to come. And the guests happened to be realtors, bankers, basically everyone that you would need to help facilitate you to move from one country to another. And that's how we came up with the concept for the conference. The backdrop of all of this, and in many ways, is this beautiful 7 Mile white sand beach that we have here. And that in itself attracts so many people to live here, to visit here, and also to invest here. But even though that may be the reality there, we're not getting enough of the resources that we need for Negril to reach its full potential. And I would say in the last 5 to 7 years, we've had, in my experience, the most amount of eyeballs and interest in investing in Negril, not only from the private sector, but even the government.
The ThropX conceptualizer says the gathering is about giving people real access to projects, to experts, and the kind of insight that allows them to move from interest to action.
I think one of the most anticipated speakers or presentations that people are looking forward to is by the Airports Authority of Jamaica. And they are going to be making a I'm using this term kind of loosely, but almost like a breaking news situation presentation that we're all looking forward to. Also, along the same lines with NEPA, we have representatives from NEPA coming that are going to be talking about the new building ordinance for the area, and who knows how high we'll be able to go in terms of building height here in Negril. And we also are very proud to have the Real Estate Board of Jamaica be a sponsor this year, and they'll be making a presentation on the real estate market throughout the island. And then also the Negril International Airport, which is going to be built in Little London, which is about 20 minutes, I would say, from downtown Negril. And we are actually having the Airports Authority of Jamaica also do a presentation at ThropX. And so again, we're very much waiting with bated breath to get an understanding of the timeline with that.
A conference of consequence for anyone who has ever considered the region's latent potential. Wellington believes that with infrastructure, real estate, and tourism currently converging towards a new era of growth for the island, the rate of development that will be unlocked is staggering.
There are just these big gargantuan projects in our minds, especially this small sleeping village of Negril, that we are very much looking forward to. And I see a lot of the Jamaican diaspora coming back and making Negril their home to retire. And then also we'd love to put ourselves in a position as a community to really attract young people to move here, young professionals. And that is ultimately one of the biggest goals that I have, is to try to get the resources, if you will, and the amenities, if you will, that attracts that demographic. I would love to especially have more Kingstonian developers come to this side and kind of really, from their perspective, understand the potential here. And I always say, especially from an affordable housing perspective, we need more housing here for especially our hotel and hospitality workers. And I feel we need more of them to actually live in Negril as opposed to 45 minutes to an hour away in Lucy or in Sablomar, or even deeper, as a matter of fact.
Across the week, attendees will be offered first-hand exposure to active and emerging developments as part of a guided real estate tour across select southwestern spaces.
So we have the Negril Real Estate Tour, and then one day, and then on the second tour day, we have the Treasure Beach Real Estate Tour. So we'll be going to St. Elizabeth to see opportunities that are there. We have everything from land to hotels to completed developments to developments that are in process. I think people are looking at Jamaica and also building in Jamaica very differently. And I think going to St. Elizabeth and going to Treasure Beach is an important aspect that really distinguishes it from this ThropX, from previous ThropXs. And you have a lot of people who have messaged me directly, who are participating in this event, who are looking forward to helping and assisting with the recovery efforts, because on my live stream, I always remind people that yes, the hurricane is over, but there are so many tens of thousands of people who are still in recovery mode, who still don't have electricity, who still don't have water. And so that is going to be kind of the undercurrent, if you will, of ThropX this year more than anything else.
Registration for the 5th staging of the ThropX Investment Conference is now open. And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crossgill.
I can't tell you how much I appreciated that with CVM. I wasn't expecting, the interview was the interview, but I thought they were just going to I thought it was going to be like 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. And it was like a full, as you just saw, like a full 6-minute piece. And I really, really appreciate CVM for having me on and giving me the opportunity to speak about the conference and let people know that, great things are happening here in Negril, great things are happening here in the West. And I think it's so important that Jamaicans hear about it. Jamaicans in Jamaica too, because many of the developments that are happening throughout the island are being done by Jamaican developers here in Jamaica. And like I said in the interview, I would love for more, especially the Kingstonian developers, to really consider what coming out here. And if we can be of any help in facilitating to make that happen, we're here. We really, really are, because we need it. We need the housing. We need the housing like crazy. And if we can get more, and you've heard me say this so many times, if we can get more of our workers to work in Negril, it's just so much better for us. It's so much better for our local community economy, and to have that money being spent here. And I would also hope that I feel I'm no economist, but I feel like that would also start driving down the cost of goods here in Negril. And when I say cost of goods, I'm specifically speaking about produce and groceries in general, because we would just have like a higher population. And then also it would increase the quality of life for our workers here. And because as they say, there's a direct correlation between your level of happiness to the length of your commute to work. And the quality, generally speaking, the quality of your life is diminished the longer and further you have to travel to and from work. And if we can increase the quality of life of our team members here, particularly in the hospitality sector, the better it is for everybody. It's great for them as individuals, but even if you want to look at it from a selfish standpoint, as a hotel owner or business owner in hospitality, you're going to be making more money because your workers are going to be happier. They're going to have more energy. They're going to have more sleep, and it's going to be better for business for everybody. And like I said, from an economic standpoint, from a local microeconomic standpoint, you're now going to have, as a community, those folks are going to be living in Negril. They're going to be paying rent here. Their mortgage here. You're going to be going to a grocery store here. They're going to be going to your restaurant. They're going to be going to your haberdashery, whatever have you, and we're just kind of creating this small little ecosystem amongst ourselves. So anyway, Kingston developers, I think it's a great opportunity. And even if you are say, hey, we're not really going for for working class housing, even though that is probably the highest level of demand that we need as far as housing goes here in this area. And you want to go luxury, same thing. As I've always said here, if somebody's going to be coming to Negril and buying a house that is, say you're making 100,000, 200,000 US dollars a year, you've saved up your money, you got your down payment, and you want to, your budget is say $300,000 to $500,000 and your home. There's no development that I could direct you. I mean, there are places for resale, but there's no new development that is happening here in Negril that you can go to, a turnkey that is. So I always say we're going to Visabella for the ThropX Negril tour. It is the biggest development in Negril, without question, as far as land space goes and the number of units and number of lots. But it's not a turnkey solution. You have to go there, you have to buy your land, you have to get an architect to design your home, and you go through, this is like, hey, you want to build your dream home. And a lot of people fall into that category, and this is why it's on my tour. I think it's one of the best places that you can buy land in a gated community in Negril. And it's on the bigger side of things in terms of the size of your lot. You're looking at about 11,000 square feet. And it's great. But as far as turnkey solutions, you have aqueducts, this is gated communities only, please take that into context. You have aqueducts, you have Little Bay Country Club. These are homes. And then if you want to consider apartments, aqueducts, I guess, is an apartment too. The only home, like when I say home, like not a farmhouse, standalone home is really Little Bay Country Club. Yeah. That's it. That's it. So the market is open, is what I'm trying to say. The market is very much open, and I'll encourage you to, come and do your research. And this doesn't have to be a big developer. And I always say this in the audience here. If you came in Negril and maybe you only wanted to do 2 units or 3 units or up to 5 units, and that's your budget in terms of your development budget, you can do it. You will get, the demand is there. The demand is there for sure. And you will get renters, you will get buyers. And even if you can get like a small plot of land and you want to do your development, because a lot of people don't want to go through that, I was going to say headache, but sometimes it can be a headache, but a lot of people don't want to go through that experience of getting a design and building a home. Like some people just like, hey, I just want to give you my money. I want to move in tomorrow. That's it. And I don't want to have to deal with contractors. I don't want to have to deal with quantity surveyors or any of that jazz. And I get it. But then there's some people who want to go through that process and build their dream home, and they want to move back home and they want to go through it. And great, we have options for you for that. But on the turnkey solution side, not a lot in Negril. Not a lot. There's some are coming. There's only one. Actually, there's only one I can think of that's coming in Negril. There's some outside of Negril that's coming. I could tell you that for sure. So, we need more of it. That's my point here. Congrats on the business clip. Super excited for May ThropX. Thank you very much. It's going to be a good one. I just hope for more improvements with power outages and internet connections. Remote workers like myself can't have a power outage and internet being down. I will say, this is one thing. What was the context of this conversation? I can't remember. But I was thinking, I feel like I had this conversation with somebody recently, but at the very least, I was just thinking of just how much of an improvement of some of the improvements that I've experienced over the 20 years that I have been here. Oh yeah, that's right. I was doing stuff for the PR company that I'm working with and just answering all these questions. And I was reflecting on how, generally speaking, the quality, and I'll speak for Negril, and I'll speak for the West here, but I think this could be applicable to much of Jamaica. But I can say that the quality of life has increased tremendously in Jamaica and here in the West. And there's like a couple of things that we can point to. And some people might say that, hey, this should be expected, right? But one of them is without a doubt electricity. And I'll say that in two folds, right? And so one is just the general reliability of JPS has probably increased like 100-fold. I can't begin to tell you how unreliable JPS was in 2006, literally 20 years ago when I moved here. And unreliable in the sense that the power could go out anytime, any day for whatever reason. Doesn't have to be a storm, doesn't have to be a hurricane, doesn't have to be raining. It can just go down. And there being zero communication as to why and also when that power is coming back on. And as a business back then who was small business, small hotel, but without a backup generator, I mean, it was hell. It was absolute hell. And just having like the not knowing, right? And so also on the reliability standpoint, I think that the experience of having stable electricity, so you don't have as much, we still have it, but you don't have like these jolts and these surges that like that break and ruin your equipment, your televisions, your ACs from time to time. And so that has been stabilized almost completely, night and day. The other aspect I think that JPS has improved on ridiculously well is their downtime. And something will happen. So whether it's like a freak storm, unfortunately a car accident, the car hits down a pole, they have done a really tremendous job in getting. And then also, again, on the communication side, they've been very communicative with the public as to what's happening, what's going on, and what the expectation is for electricity to be back online. And so, again, from a quality of life perspective, that alone has been just so tremendous. Also, I will say with the phone service, God, just so much better since Digicel has come into play. If anybody remembers the cable and wireless days, oh my goodness, just the absolute worst garbage service, because they were the one and only. Forget about it. If you needed some sort of service, your line went down. I mean, days, weeks, months, just trash, unbelievable. Like it was just like we were back in the 1800s. This is how terrible it used to be. And then Digicel came on board. Just a blessing to this island, a blessing to this country. And there used to be Claro back then, and there was another telecoms company. But man, what competition does! It's just so powerful, so powerful. And I think we got so lucky in having them come on. And luck is relative because it's been very lucrative for them as a company and telecommunications company. And I think it's been great on both sides. And then that also goes hand in hand with internet as well. Internet has also improved tremendously here. Now we have cable and wireless. We have cable and wireless, i.e. Flow. We have Digicel, and now we also have Starlink, which is great. So we have three options that increases the redundancy and also the stability of internet connection, which is great. I'll also say a third improvement in quality of life that has been tremendous is also the banks. As much as I bash and rag on the banks here, they've gone digital in a big way. And there's so many transactions, thankfully, that we're able to do online that, again, going back 20 years when I first moved here, it was just, you had to go to the bank for everything. And now you can do transfers on your phone. You can I was going to say, can we do deposit? I guess transfers is the biggest thing. And that is not only account to account transfers within your accounts, but that's also transferring to people. Like I pay my rent online through my bank, and then also doing a foreign exchange as well. You can do that digitally as well, which may not sound like a big deal to you guys live in the States, Canada, Europe, or wherever you are. But 20 years ago, that didn't exist. I mean, everything was just so manual. So just trying to bring context in terms of the quality of life, these little things that I think make a huge difference in the quality of life down here. The next thing that I wanted to mention, oh man, I forgot the next thing. Something with land. Oh no, it was taxes. We talked about this I think a few streams ago, but the digitization of the tax administration of Jamaica has also been tremendous, and you no longer have to go to the tax office for every little thing. You can do so much online. You can do so much through the tax administration app on your phone, and then also on the website if you're using your computer. And these are just great improvements, and there's more to come. There's more to come. I was just at a luncheon yesterday at Skylark, and this was for the National Chamber of Commerce quarterly luncheon, and they did it here in the Grill. And so we had a bunch of the presidents of the different Chamber of Commerces from around Jamaica come to this luncheon, and then we had Minister Audrey Marks, former ambassador to the U.S. in Jamaica. She was the keynote speaker, and she was just talking a lot about these digital solutions that are coming online with the government. I mean, and a lot of them are imminent, just making life for us Jamaicans living in Jamaica, doing business here, living life here, just so much better. I can't wait. And it's just, you can see that Jamaica is continuing to move into this digital way, and it's just going to be so much better. I can't wait. And these examples that I was just explaining and expressing to you, it's just like, it may seem so little and insignificant to some of you that take this for granted because you just that's just been the way of life for you. It hasn't always been that way here in Jamaica and here in the Grill. And it's just going to continue to go in that direction. And I think this is going to be really great for all of us. Even going back to this plays into the conversation that I had with Noel Phillips on Thursday, talking about the digitization of land titles. Huge. I mean, this is just, it's just such a game changer. I don't think maybe you can't appreciate it because we have been living life this one way for the existence, or at least my existence in being in Jamaica and doing business here. And now we're moving into a much more efficient, streamlined way. I mean, I can't wait for it all. And for those of you who are coming into the fold of moving here, of investing here, doing business here, I mean, you're coming at an amazing time. Really, I mean, we have been in the trenches, if you will, up to our knees and sometimes up to our neck for the last 20 years, at least I have. And now we're moving into a situation where so much of this is going to be streamlined. This is just like a new lease on life for a lot of these different types of solutions that are coming into play for me and for us doing business down here. And this is just amazing, and I'm glad that have gone through this much harder way, if you will, and much arduous way of doing business and getting things done down here. But because now I will have and have been having an extreme level of appreciation for where we are and also where we're going. And I think as a country, because of this, we are going to fly. Because if we've been operating this way at this level for so long, and now you're kind of taking the handcuffs off, forget about it. All right. Well, I didn't mean to go on that rant, but thank you for the opportunity, Unique. All right, let's start closing out here with a few last minute comments here. Yolanda says, so proud of you. Keep up the great work. I wish I could attend, but I just came back from Jamaica Negril, very interested in properties. We always will have a ThropX in the future. So we got one coming up in November, and we'll have one in 2027 for sure. But thank you for the well wishes. Tisha says, awesome clip. Love seeing ThropX promoted via other mediums. Thank you, Tisha. Appreciate that. Unique says, I've been doing banking in Jamaica with VMBS, and they are top notch compared to others I tried using and had to give up. This is why I've been recommended VM since day one, even before we started working together. It's just they're just the best right now. I mean, plain and simple. If you want good service, the best service that a bank has to offer in Jamaica is VM. I mean, that's just the reality. Kadol says, I think it's horrible having everything digitized in the UK. People are losing jobs by the minute because of technology. Keep things analog as much as possible. I don't know. I mean, it's just, I think that I hear you, Kadol, but for somebody who's doing business here and trying to get things done and doing it in a more efficient way, I have to say I cannot wait. I cannot wait, because it also takes you so long. And this is from top down, from a because I'm also thinking from a bureaucratic government standpoint in getting approvals. And that was kind of the basis of the conversation in a luncheon yesterday with Ambassador Marks. We have to be able to move faster on a lot of these things, and it just slows down the economy, sometimes to a screeching halt. And deals are, as we were saying on Thursday's live streams, Jamaica is probably losing hundreds of millions of US dollars annually because of the arduous processes and bureaucratic process that we have to go through. Some investors have to go through, and they're just like, forget about it. I don't want to have anything to do with this, because where I'm from, this takes 7 days max. And you're telling me that it's going to take 12 months? No way. And so I'm very much looking forward to a more digitized Jamaica. And it's just because there's just so many other parts of the economy and lifestyle down here that I think is just going to take longer. And if there's one aspect of doing business down here that can move along a little faster, I'll take it. I will take it. Kyle says, I hear you, but you're swapping convenience for control. It's a fact. Maybe. And I mean, to an extent, I'm kind of okay with that, right? Even, I know there's just been this big pushback with the digitization of ID and biometrics. I don't know. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I think it's like, I mean, I guess your point is like, push it off as long as possible, but to what end? I mean, I don't think this is going to be something that is a battle that we can fight and that we can win. And also the clarity of an analog future. What does that look like? I'm not sure. But I mean, I'm ready to move forward as somebody, again, who's doing business down here and know how tough this system can be. And then also even looking to the future of hopefully the kids can really, the Jamaican kids that is, can really take advantage of it, and it levels the playing field of their education and opportunities that will be created for them as young adults. But maybe this is wishful thinking. Who knows? All right. I think we're going to close it off there. And this has been great discussion. Thank you to, again, Frankie for coming on. Appreciate him taking the time. And we have, like I said, we're closing off with housekeeping. I'll be back on Thursday. I'll be back on Thursday for the Thursday live stream. No stream next Sunday, but next Thursday would be the last stream, at least until after ThropX. So if you're interested in ThropX, remember to get your tickets. Tickets are for sale at thropx.com. We have virtual tickets available if you can't make it in person, but if you can't make it for the whole week, we'd love to see you for one of the events or one of the days. And also, just as a quick reminder, if you're going to be coming on any of the real estate tours, if you could just please give us at least a 1-day heads up that you're thinking about coming, because every year we have people just pop up on the day, and I know people are excited and they want to see these properties, and we'd love to have you. Absolutely love to have you, but we just need a little bit of a heads up because we have limited space on the buses, and we want to make sure if we need to get an extra bus,
figure out transportation for you, that we have that available for you. We don't want to leave anybody behind. So please, just again, if you are coming for any of the real estate tour days, any day really, but definitely the real estate tours, please let us know. Give us at least 24 hours ahead. You can email us at events@thropmedia.com, and we'll make sure that we have a space available for you. Again, great stream, everybody. And we will see you on Thursday. Have a great rest of your Sunday and a great week ahead.
Throp here again. As you're probably hearing, Jamaica is on an unprecedented economical tear, and I know many people are interested to learn how they might be able to buy property in Jamaica, move here, or even start a business. Enter ThropX. This is my annual Jamaica investment conference hosted at Travelers Beach Resort in Negril, Jamaica. If you're even considering moving to or investing in Jamaica, this is the best low-risk opportunity to do your due diligence and network with the very people driving the country forward. This event brings together a group of hand-picked, trusted, top-of-their-field individuals, the best developers, contractors, real estate pros, lenders, and government partners, all under one roof to help you make your move. This is very much an action-focused premium conference experience geared towards empowering you with the tools and team necessary to create your Jamaica dream. We've partnered with the Tax Administration of Jamaica to help you get your TRN and even open a bank account, all conveniently located on conference property. One of the most popular parts of the conference is the real estate tour. It's the best way to understand Jamaica's real estate market, seeing and experiencing properties firsthand so you can compare apples to apples. Another incredibly valuable part of the conference is the people you will meet. Attendees have been some of the most dynamic, inspiring individuals I have met doing incredible things with their lives. As always, this year will be fun, educational, and actionable, giving you the tools, insights, and connections to invest, build, and move to Jamaica. For more information, please visit thropx.com and join our mailing list. Hey there, Throp here. I wanted to interrupt just for a minute to tell you about my family's hotel, Travelers Beach Resort. We are a 60-room Jamaican-owned and operated hotel located on the world-famous 7-mile white sand beach of Negril, Jamaica. My father started this property back in '94, and myself and my brothers Winfield and Wingate took over in 2011 after my father retired. Recently, we've made some upgrades to the property, particularly to our rooms. They've been redesigned and reimagined with comfort and style at the forefront. The textures, the light, the layout, each space was designed with intention, balancing modern touches with the familiar spirit of travelers. Our deluxe rooms and suites, which you are seeing on your screen now, have gone through an incredible transformation. We now have 2-bedroom suites available for your accommodations next time you're in Negril. We're especially proud of our gym. It's designed to give you a high-quality workout experience with premium equipment, plenty of space, and an energizing atmosphere. Our lounge has become one of the more popular public spaces, perfect for a family game night or catching the big game. Of course, our restaurant and bar is located right on the beach, so you can enjoy the most beautiful sunsets in the world. We look forward to welcoming you home. For more information, please visit www.tbr.travel.
Welcome home